Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
If you've been hurt in a road accident that wasn't your fault, you should really talk to G4 Claims first. Unlike road accident solicitors, we don't charge you for our services, which could see you better off. To keep 100% of your compensation, have a chat with Nicole and the team. You'll be glad you did. Search online for G4 Claims.
Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
Ladies and gents, welcome back to TSF1, episode 2 of the podcast.
Yes.
Video number 3.
Yes.
You stepped up last week.
Did you enjoy my Ryan's race review?
It was alright, eh?
Did you watch it?
Yeah, I watched a bit of it.
Oh, that's nice of you.
I didn't watch it.
That's nice. This is the first time we've done it in person.
It is, yeah. I never actually thought that was going to happen, but I thought I'm here anyway, so I might as well make the most of it.
Aye.
We're here to review the Hungarian Grand Prix, as well as talk about Sebastian Vettel, who has announced his retirement from
And Fernando Alonso.
And Fernando Alonso, who of course is now going the other way to Aston Martin. But we'll cover the race first.
Yes.
We'll come to Seb and Fernando at the end. It was a race that saw Max Verstappen cruise from 10th on the grid to first on the podium, and another win and another step closer to retaining his world championship. It was another race in which Mercedes performed very well and showed why they're the most consistent and reliable team in the in the standings. They're always there.
Don't be disrespectful.
Pretty hard to argue with that. And it also was another race in which Ferrari proved that they will do anything to screw both their drivers and fuck up any hopes of a world championship that they had. Saturday, George Russell, where did that come from, Callum? What a lap to seal pole position.
Put in sort of right at the very death. It was very surprising. I was trying to watch it and work and see that way, like I had one eye on it, one eye I was trying to serve customers, and for another, I have no do it.
I hope your boss doesn't watch it.
No, but it's one in the shop anyhow.
He works in a bookies.
Well, I know, but you know what I'm getting. You like to have a coupon on at work?
As long as it's not a Labrooks, eh?
Don't worry, I've not put it on in here. I've not put it on in here, I swear.
Well, sitting there playing the puggies all day.
But no, I'm fair play to him. As you said, I think it's nice to see that Mercedes are starting to bring herself back up, and I think second half of the season will be very strong for them.
And Ferrari, after Saturday, it looked like they were probably set for a 1-2 on Sunday if things could go well. A bit of a disaster of a Saturday for Red Bull.
It was a poor Saturday, and the thing is about Saturday was it left me with I had no hope going into Hungary. Like,
but you should have done.
Yeah, I probably should have, because Ferrari are absolute idiots.
Yeah.
Like, I knew that I could have counted on them to hand Max another win, but like the Hungaroring is not a track that was suited for a Red Bull car. There's too many turns. We know that Red Bull's like the straight lines. It wasn't going to be the greatest. Ferrari should have had that 1-2, as you said. So I didn't have any faith. And then, especially after qualifying, I was thinking to myself, well, fuck this. I didn't think anything was going to happen. But no, somehow Max goes on and wins the race on the Sunday. There is so much to unpack from the race itself.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we may as well just start with the Ferrari fiasco at the moment.
I mean, it's another fucking tired discussion. So, right, here's what I don't get about this. I don't think the mistake was putting let me explain why I think this. When they pitted Charles, the mistake wasn't then putting him on the hards, because at that point the softs weren't going to last to the end of the race.
No, I know.
The mistake came when they pitted him far too early on both stints of the mediums. The mediums could have gone another 5-10 laps on each stint, and then they could have pitted him.
But surely there was still. I understand what you mean, but even at that, like, the fact that they seen what the hard tyres were doing to those Alpines, they should never have done it.
Once they'd pitted him at that point,
they had
the softs weren't going to last, and they couldn't go back onto mediums.
Yeah.
So the mistake was made earlier in the race.
Yeah.
And Toto Wolff said that himself. He said, well, once they'd pitted, they had to go hard because his softs were not going to last. In hindsight, they pitted him again anyway, so they could have just gone with 2 sets of the soft, but the soft didn't have much grip either. It was strange that the medium was so much better than both sets of tyres. Even the soft wasn't great. But yeah, Max ends up winning this race, and to go from 10th to 1st is an unbelievable performance, but I didn't walk away from that thinking like Max did anything that special. Well, I mean, he almost spun out towards the end of the race. He had a slow pit stop at one point.
Listen,
it wasn't like that's how bad Ferrari were. Do you know what I mean? It's how bad.
But do you not think it's also a credit to how good Max is?
Yeah, but I don't think he's had better drives.
I think that I think it's up there with one of his most impressive. Not just because he comes from P10, he spins, and he still manages to win the race.
Exactly, but that shouldn't happen.
Well, it shouldn't happen. Of course, it shouldn't happen, right? But I mean, it still doesn't take anything away from Max.
No, it doesn't. But I still like the point I'm making is Max could have done better, and he still won the race. from 10th. How scary is that? Like, Max could have been better than that and he still won the race from 10th.
I wanted to bring up a quote from Matteo Binotto, who is in very hot water, we could say. He said there's nothing to change at Ferrari, despite everything that's going on. A calculation was made. From the last 9 races, Charles Leclerc has lost 135 points from positions he should have won or finished higher in the race. And yet Matteo Binotto, who's apparently in danger of losing his job during the summer break, believes there is nothing to change. Callum, he's a clown. Do you think that Matteo Binotto survives this? How big is the second half of the season for him?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, also it does come down to everyone else involved with the team. Also, you look at the likes of like the strategists and such; they are very much in the same boat. They could very much be next to go. But I think as you've touched on that, 135 points. You imagine how different the championship could be at the top between Max and Charles.
Charles technically should be leading.
Oh, so most definitely.
There's this wee narrative after last week that Charles has not had a good season, which is fucking bonkers. He's driven brilliantly. Last week he made an absolute tit of
The
it.
only two that are really his fault are Imola and
Last
France.
week. But the amount of times he's driven really, really well and just been absolutely shafted by strategy or reliability, it's just fucking nonsense.
It must hurt as a Ferrari fan.
It does. It hurts for him because I just love Charles. Like, he's great, and you hear the pain in his voice last week when he knows he's fucked up. But like his post race. I mean, he's doing really well not to slag fuck out the team. I think he's doing really well not to slag.
He's biting his lip. He is biting it.
But you can tell he's devastated. I mean, he must be, because this World Championship, you look at pace in the cars, it's every bit as fast as the Red Bull, especially in the corners. I mean, and the Red Bull had the reliability issues at the start of the season and fixed them very, very quickly. Ferrari have had these issues constantly, and actually they fixed the reliability and then they make an arse out of strategy. Like, actually, both cars were reliable enough at the weekend. There was an issue at the start for Max with the clutch that they got fixed that could have been an issue, but as far as reliability goes for Ferrari, it seemed to be there this weekend, and strategy then humps them, which is unforgivable when you're that far behind.
We're going to have to get him on at one point, but Cal McKenzie made a very interesting point to me about Ferrari in this season, and it's been the different narratives between Charles and Carlos Sainz, because a lot of people, including myself, were getting a little bit kind of, let's say, I was a little bit critical of Carlos for the way he started the season, how things were going, and maybe if he was good enough or not to be a Ferrari driver. But if you were to put him in the seat, and I'm not just saying me, this was a massive thing that was people have been very critical of him. If he done what has happened with Charles, I think the reaction would be very different.
But what is Charles actually not? I mean, they're fucked up.
No, I know, but so Carlos has had a lot of reliability issues now, and I think Cal made a very interesting point.
They've favoured him with strategy so many times, which makes fuck all sense.
Nah, I just think that if he, and I do agree with Cal on this, I think if the last 4 or 5 races was Carlos in that situation rather than Charles.
Cal will back me up on this, because this is very much Verstappen, Ricardo, Red Bull. That period towards the end where they knew Verstappen was the golden kid. He could do no wrong.
Yeah.
Ricardo was still more than competent.
That's what I said. That was my rebuttal to Callum. That was my rebuttal.
And they ended up, Verstappen got all the priority in terms of strategy in that because he was the golden child. And it's very much that way with Leclerc.
I mean, Charles is the one with the contract till 2026.
And by the way, rightly so, because he's the better driver.
Yeah. Right, okay. Right, I was just bringing up a point, just bringing up a point. But Ferrari need to sort that out. They need to. I think they need a whole overhaul in the paddock in terms of strategists and top guys, top engineers, top fucking principal.
The main reason of that is that Lewis Hamilton's now had more podiums than Charles Leclerc this season.
That is mad. If you told me that 4 or 5 weeks ago, I would have laughed in your face.
And the Mercs are flying, Callum, and they could easily finish
most
second.
definitely.
We'll move on to Mercedes.
As you're saying there, I think keeps going the way it is. I think you could also see Merck also jumping above them and constructors, and both think you will see the drivers.
I think easily happen.
Most definitely. I think as we're touching on there from the way it's running, and even more so, I mean, Hamilton's sitting 6th just now overall, Russell in 4th. See if it keeps going, I think you could see Russell maybe pushing for 2nd and the drivers.
I think Hamilton will. Hamilton seems to have found pace.
I think if it then comes down to, as I say, like the strategy wise, you say, right, also you prioritise Hamilton, you push him through, but I think it's just the performances that Russell's been putting in.
Yeah, I agree. Hamilton seems to really find the bit between his teeth again, though. In the last couple of weeks, he seems to be really back at it now.
do you think that the Mercedes win is coming?
Oh, 100%. And especially if they have a good... The one thing you'll say about Mercedes, I know they had it took them a long time to get going, but I trust them to have a good break and make the tweaks they need and come back ready to go. I'm not sure I trust Ferrari.
Well, it's going to be big from Belgium as well, because remember, we spoke about this on the very first show. From Belgium onwards, the new floor regulations will be in place. That
should suit Mercedes.
That should suit Mercedes. Now, I'd imagine that Ferrari and Red Bull have adjusted most things already, so they are preparing and understanding what's going to happen. But that will help us. Who knows? That may shuffle up the order a little bit. I think that Mercedes are not too far off of
really challenging the top two.
Challenging the top two.
There is still a slight pace difference, but it's closing. It's very much closing. I mean, Lewis was setting some ridiculous lap times yesterday. Like, absolutely, he was flying.
Well, he took fastest lap, didn't he?
Yeah, he was absolutely flying, and he was consistently putting in these fast laps, and he seems to have really found his form. But the crazy thing as well is, and Max said it himself, he'll be absolutely delighted with Mercedes being back now, because they're just going to take more points off Ferrari. Neither are going to catch Verstappen. It would take an absolute disaster.
I was going to come on to Red Bull next very quickly, just to cover on them. A P1 for Max, of course. P5 for Sergio Perez. A tough weekend for him. He needs his break badly, Checo, doesn't he? Yeah, he does. He's kind of tailed off in the last few races. Confidence hasn't been on his side. But Max, 80 clear. I mean, it's just delightful. I mean, boys.
I come back to it. I don't even think he's been that great.
Like, he's not had to be. That's the
point I'm making.
He's not had to
levels.
be. I mean, this is the thing, though. We say he's not been that great.
Still won most of these.
What do you think the chances are? And I've been asking this question a lot over the past couple of days. Do you think he could tie or even beat Sebastian Vettel's record for most wins in a season? 13 wins is the record. I think he's tied with Michael Schumacher. I think it's Michael Schumacher, might be wrong, but I know Vettel is one of the guys who holds it. 13 races. Max is on 8 with 9 to go. The
second half of the season, you look at it,
things are going to close.
You could realistically all win races, especially if Mercedes do tighten that gap. Listen, Ferrari are going to win a couple of races for the end of the season. Like they have done already, and they will do again. That's going to happen. Well, I mean, look at Austria. Ferrari, bar that clutch issue for Leclerc, in terms of pace, they absolutely cruised.
Yeah, then Carlos Sainz's car blew up.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. And then Hungary, they sorted the reliability issues, and they fucked it with strategy.
Yeah.
If they can just get both of them right, we've seen that the pace is there, and it's going to happen at times.
I have a feeling that Max is going to get 12 wins this season. I think he's going to come one shot.
4 more wins in the last 9.
4 in the last 9, yeah. I think he'll win 4 more races. He is easily the best driver on the grid. Like, there's no question about that. He is the best driver on the grid.
No, it's still a debate. 100%.
No, it's Max. Max is the best driver on the grid.
How?
Because, mate, he's been on every race that he has finished since like sometime in 2020. He's been on the podium.
Yeah, but
that is unbelievable.
I think he would have been
on current form at this moment in time.
I think he'd be on the podium all the time.
Maybe.
Well, exactly, and Hamilton also has maybe sometimes, maybe not.
Max right now is better than Hamilton.
Maybe.
No,
it's not exactly clear cut.
I think it is clear cut.
I know you've only just started watching this again.
No, listen. At this moment in time, there is a clear. That's the thing. This is a guy. This is a guy that does not even need to race at his best and push his best levels.
Is so good.
But it's not just about the car.
But equally, when Hamilton was cruising all these races,
you got to remember, this car had 2 failings in the first 3 races.
Yeah, that hasn't.
And he's still 80 points clear. Yeah. That's unbelievable.
Everyone else has been very shit.
And as I said, the record right now, I think apart from like Hungary 2021, where he raced with a half-broken car, every race that he's finished since a certain date in 2020, he's been on the podium.
Know, but
and even in the car wasn't that special in like 2020 and 2021.
Again, but he wouldn't be if he was in the Merc this season.
But he done it in the Red Bull in 2020 and 2021.
It was probably better than this season's Merc up until now.
But that's
how many World Championships Hamilton won? 6?
7?
Right, okay.
He's washed. He's finished, mate.
He's still going to win another
He's
one.
finished. Anyway, Checo does need the break. You're right. Let's move on to McLaren.
Can we go to Alpine first?
Okay.
Because they're going to punch fuck at each other at some point this season. I cannot wait.
One last
goodbye. They absolutely want to screw each other out. I mean, Daniel Ricciardo makes the best overtake of the weekend, but it happens because of Alpine stupidity. They're so determined to fight each other, and I respect it from Ocon, because Alonso's a fucking bull and he'll do whatever he wants. Mm-hmm. But Ocon's like, oh, fuck you, you're not getting the best of me. I like that, to be fair, from him. But they are going to start scrapping.
Yeah, they could have done better, but they had the same situation with the hard tyres during the race.
But I think they basically went. There's a lot of talk that Alonso's basically having a lot of say in strategy, and basically he's getting to do whatever the fuck he wants. And he just gambled that the hard tyres might come good, and they didn't. But yeah,
it's still not a bad result for Alpine. I mean, P8, P9 get some double points again, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they still would have wanted to finish the best of the rest, wouldn't they? Lando had another great weekend, to be fair to him, and that McLaren that Ricciardo was still very much struggling with.
Yeah, okay.
A shame after qualifying, because you thought Ricciardo was very much on for points.
Yeah, let's go to McLaren. Callum, it was a P7 for Lando Norris, and obviously Daniel Ricciardo, he struggled. He ended up finishing P15. I mean, I guess it's just another one of those races that stresses the difference between the two drivers at the moment, and amongst all the shuffling, Ricciardo is meant to be a McLaren driver next year, and I don't think we need to cover all of that again at this moment in time, but he must be sitting thinking to himself, wow, with everything going on, I need to get my arse in gear a wee bit here.
It definitely does. I think it's more so that he's had the backing from Zach Brown, but Zach Brown's come out and defended him, like on his own case as well. Is it like that will work more for him? But as you say, definitely to start buck it up. I mean, I think I just in the performances you've seen Lando putting in this season, it's obviously he has took majority of points for them. And when you look at how sort of practice and qualifying that went, you thought, do you know what, this can actually be a good weekend for them. It was what good weekend was on the cards, but also
do you think it's just a case of McLaren lacking the race pace? Like they've got the qualifying pace a bit.
Do they though?
They had it at the weekend.
Ricciardo
it's such a flimsy team. It's like week in, week out, they change. I just feel like 1 week they look as though they've got decent qualifying pace, 1 week they look as though they've got decent race pace, and then fucking switches. I don't know. It's just so weird. This season that you can't put your finger on what to expect of McLaren.
No, absolutely
They've
not.
really struggled with the regulation changes.
They are struggling big time, and it's a shame because they should be best of the rest. I mean, that race is going to be interesting to see if he does finish fourth in constructors, but I feel for Ricciardo again because it looked like he was set for points this weekend, doesn't get them. Seb got points, or a point, which was nice to see.
Aston Martin, baby.
And Lance Stroll kind of unlucky, he could have been in the points as well.
Yeah, how many more points will Seb Vettel see as an F1 driver? You've got to savour every last one.
8 more points.
Think you'll get 8? That's probably
8
realistic.
from 9,
Yeah.
you could do that.
I think you could get that. I mean, they swapped from last week because last week it was the other way about. Stroll finished P10.
Look, Seb was going to get him last week.
Yeah, and then this week, obviously.
Very aggressive driving towards the end last week. Seb better not hurt Daddy's boy because otherwise, he'd be kicked out before he can retire.
That's not like Lance.
I'll get fucking Nico Hülkenberg in there for the rest of the season. This sums you up that you like Lance Stroll.
What? How?
Fucking people he likes in F1, Christian Horner, Lance Stroll. I mean, Jesus Christ.
What's wrong with that?
Sums you up.
You seem so disappointed.
I'm not. I'm just expecting at this point.
And do you know what I'm fed up of? I am absolutely sick and tired of seeing Christian Horner slander on TikTok.
No, let's slander his wife instead.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
See the photos of her and fucking Doris and Liz Truss.
Aye, seen that.
This was the company you're keeping.
There was a really interesting. Programme on Sky the other night, and it was At Home with Horner, I think it was called.
At Home and Horny. I watched that.
So Martin Brundle went.
See, you spent a night in a hotel room. You're surprised what you find on TV.
Martin Brundle went and visited Christian Horner at his home, and it's just
Horner was in a scud. Horny with a Horner.
So he's taking them through all the animals and such, and they've got like 4 goats, and they've got horses, and all the horses are named. All the horses are named after the Spice Girl songs. So one's called like "Stop Right There," and just things like that. But it's a really good interview, and Horner touches on like his perception.
That was all he was touching.
Why are you making this such a horny conversation?
He's just horny Horner.
So Horner kind of touches on his perception.
I really hope you're going to start calling him horny accidentally.
And like he talks about like he's like, people don't like me because like I'll argue with like, the referees and I'll shout, but he's like, you didn't see Alec Ferguson sitting there in silence when he was a manager, did you?
Yeah, but a lot of people also thought he was an arse piece.
But like, why does Horner get it so stinking? He's a genius. He's like the Mourinho of F1.
He's just very unlikable.
I think he's very likeable. Once you look past,
past all the unlikable bits.
Once you look past his maybe sexist comments
and his sexy nature,
and then look at his sexy nature.
Well, no, his sexual nature. I mean,
sexual nature.
So I've just called him sexy.
Anyway, enough about that. Pierre Gasly, he had another week where he'll be gutted to missing points. And Yuki Tsunoda, who had a really bad race.
He went home and just punched fuck out of the doors in his room and all that. His cupboards in his bedroom have just got holes in them.
Once again, just like we asked the question about Ferrari having a big second half to the season, Calum, Alpha Tauri, they've surely got to take us 3 weeks to try and sort something out because they've been a mess this season.
I think it's just a mess overall. I mean, even you look at the drivers. I mean, as you've just touched on there with Yuki Tsunoda, he's been absolutely nowhere near it this season. He's been like a mile off. But then the same with Gasly as well.
Gasly's ruined his stock.
Gasly was
this
like,
season.
there was a point he was looking also himself, thinking, right, I want to get myself back in that main Red Bull car. I want myself in that seat.
Yeah, because
and
Tsunoda's been so
this
bad,
season-
that helps Gasly a bit.
Oh, I know,
He
it
just goes
definitely
cars
does.
shit.
But
Yeah.
I think it takes anything bad that Gasly does, takes a light off him if Tsunoda continues to do worse. But no, I think it has to be a massive second half of the summer for them.
And then Alfa Romeo, they got P13 and P20. David Joe finishing above Bottas again as Bottas DNF.
It looked like we were going to have the first race of the year with no DNFs, but then...
Valtteri. Right, with 2 laps to go.
No power.
2 laps to go. And Bottas has had a real slump.
See, if that
Obviously
race went
times.
5 more laps, it would have been fascinating.
Yeah.
Because Max was starting to
Yeah,
struggle.
Hamilton was gaining.
Yeah.
Hamilton was gaining. But Bottas with 2 laps to go, he disappeared. Haas, another poor week for them with no points at all.
What's going on?
They're just up and
See,
down.
Austria, they were rapid.
Yeah, yeah.
When the Lewis could get past them for the
And then the safety car gubbed them.
Yeah.
And all the rest
pace
of it.
seemed to be there, and it just didn't the weekend. Interesting.
Yeah, Schumacher and Magnussen both missing out on points again. They'll need to. And I'm sure they took upgrades to Hungary at the weekend, so that was weird to see them struggle so
It
much.
takes time. I mean, upgrades isn't always exactly as clear cut as you think. It
Yeah.
does take time to get used to them.
And then finally with Williams, what do you expect? Latifi, P1 and practice free. What on earth?
I don't know. He obviously thinks that's the race, and he just.
And then,
goes.
so he finishes P1 in the final practice. He then, in qualifying 1, sets a purple sector 1, a green sector 2,
And
then
then
fucks it sector 3. What is wrong with him?
He's a fucking balloon. He shouldn't. I mean, I think I'm more qualified to drive an F1 car than he is.
Well, I got it in Knock Hill. The F4 was on at Knock Hill last week.
Was it?
Aye. So yeah, Latifi and Albon out once again without
That'd be a good
points.
video, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would make a crack. But have you seen like Burnt Chips video where it's a 24
that's
hour?
24 hour
Aye.
go-kart.
Wow.
Yeah, quite good.
That's the name that I heard for a while.
Mate, he's big now again, man. He's like
Was he
Sure.
again? He was like pals with like Anise and Gibb and all that, wasn't he?
aye, and
Aye.
he's like hangs about the side men.
Does he do
Like that.
boxing, does he? Bet he does.
I don't
No, he doesn't.
think he does
He's
the
one of the
boxing
ones that didn't actually choose to give
Great
him
guy,
that.
I've always liked him.
So, you should watch their 24 hour thing. We should get a team for that and go down next year.
Christ.
Like leave our bodies in absolute agony. So yeah, that was the,
Agony getting up these stairs.
Aye, that was the Hungarian Grand Prix this weekend. It's the last Grand Prix until the 28th of August, where we return to Spa.
So glad the football's back, so we've got something to
Yeah.
look
Aye.
But potentially the last ever Belgian Grand Prix,
That'd be a disgrace.
which would be sad.
That would be like never playing. Oh no, actually, I don't know what I'm talking about.
like
Just clip that and
like never playing it.
I don't know. It would be like not fucking. I don't know.
The last ever game at the.
What's like an
Bernabeu.
iconic stadium, but not too iconic?
Not too iconic.
Like Everton leaving Goodison.
Which they are.
Aye, so that's kind of a. No, because Goodison's shit.
Goodison's good.
I mean, it's made it weird, doesn't it?
Aye, but still good. Anyway, Spa's away, maybe. We'll need to wait and see. And that was that weekend, but some huge news coming out. We've got about 10 minutes left to try and cover it all. Sebastian Vettel retired, announcing his surprise retirement from F1. Now, it looked as though it could have been coming, but I didn't expect it on Friday
He's an
morning.
arsehole, right? I was so excited to get into Seb's on social media. Yes, this is going to be golden. And then he just tells us he's leaving.
Yeah. It was quite a weird video, wasn't it? Quite artsy. Like
But
he's
he is an
farewell
arsey kind
video.
of guy, though, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
I love him a bit.
Him and Lewis have done like a fantastic job at kind of rising above the sport and being
yeah.
two great personalities in terms of what they stand for and what they do.
Using the
And-
platform and their voice for good.
and
Seb,
you're- and
on
you're
every
losing,
issue.
You're
just-
losing Seb. I mean, 4-time world champion. Now the thing is about Seb, his career's kind of been on fast forward. Did he peak too early? It's been a real kind of constant downward spiral since he left Red
And I
Bull.
don't think that's what he wants, which is why I think he's jumping.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, his chance was 2018, and
Again, though, Ferrari reliability didn't really help him, did it?
yep, exactly. And yeah, he's just never going to get that at Aston Martin, so he has
But
to.
I mean,
has to go.
some of the stuff. I mean, in his early parts of his career, I mean, those drives for Red Bull were unbelievable. That first win for Toro Rosso goes down as one of the best moments in the history of the sport. You still see it clipped all the time. He was just unbelievable, and the personality, man. I mean, wow, what a guy!
You got-
Hilarious, but like, you'd marry him, wouldn't you? He's just
Yeah.
got everything.
Are you going to miss him, Calum?
Oh, definitely. I think you will notice that he's not there next
Oh,
season.
100%.
And you go throughout the paddock, I think he is like that father figure to a lot of the drivers as well.
Poor Mick.
Oh,
Oh, mate.
Nah, Mick, poor Mick.
Mick was hoping for that Aston Martin seat, I think.
Yeah.
It was probably some part of him. He thought, well, if he's away, I can sort of try and jump in there. But as I've touched on else, Alonso has jumped in front of him.
Yeah, there's Alonso, and that's the big news that came out following the retirement of Sebastian Vettel. Fernando Alonso, my GOAT.
Fernando just never wants to stop.
He doesn't, and fair play to him because he doesn't have to stop. He showed, honestly, shove him in Red Bull this season, he'd win a championship.
He just backed up.
So
everyone
good.
else, not let anyone past him.
I was surprised because so Sebastian Vettel announced his retirement, and there's like a wobbling going on. Okay, that's it. So Sebastian Vettel announced his retirement, and I went on to Sky Sports to watch like the coverage, and Craig Slater, of course, of Sky was on, and he was sitting there. And
Not a fan of Craig.
do you not like Craig Slater on that? He's quite funny. Craig Slater, anyway, he was on, and he was giving his suggestions for who he think could take Sebastian's seat. He said, "I've got 3 drivers in mind. I've got Fernando Alonso, Mick Schumacher, and Daniel Ricciardo." That was the 3 he gave, and he said Fernando first. And I looked at Craig Slater, and I thought, what a fucking shit suggestion. I was like, why on earth would Fernando Alonso leave Alpine to join Aston
It's not
Martin?
because Alpine only wanted to give him a 1-year deal.
Literally 24 hours later, Fernando Alonso joins fucking Aston Martin. I'm like, sorry Craig, my bad, I'm obviously stupid. And now Alonso's about Aston Martin. As you said, you touched on the reason.
Yeah, he just wants to race. Alpine were going to give him a 1-year deal, and this Aston Martin deal is a multi-year deal. I don't know specified how many years it is yet. Imagine it'd be 3 years.
So we've got now Lawrence Stroll's 5-year plan and Fernando's L plan.
But there was a
so
story
you've got
this
L
morning.
5-year plan.
There was a story this morning that there's a clause in the contract where basically he can leave if he doesn't like it. Because I can see him absolutely murdering Lawrence and Lance in their sleep because he just hates the both of them. I mean, Seb has chucked the sport because he can't put up a Lance Stroll.
How would it make you feel if I say that I like Lawrence Stroll as well?
Again, as David said earlier, that just sums you up.
Yeah,
I,
sums it up.
I just like the characters. You know what I mean?
The arseholes.
Yeah, then they're characters. Calum, how do you think Fernando will go into next season? Because we obviously seen Fernando at McLaren, and he was not a happy bunny because McLaren were very, very shit. And right now, Aston Martin are very, very shit. Do you think that must mean that Aston Martin have got evidence of improvement coming?
I think, as you've touched on also in when we were on the Verne, like this 5-year plan that's apparently been put out to him, it has to have like significant improvements if he has then said, right, I'll come for that. Because surely he's not just went on the basis of them saying, right, well, we'll give you more than that 1 year that Alpine are offering. So there definitely has to be something there like in the planning. But I think, as you said, like say he goes and within maybe like the first 2 years it's not working, he could very well just turn around, right, do you know what, stuff this, it's not for me.
I wanted to bring up a point, and this is a credit to Tomo, who's an F1 YouTuber, but he raised a very fucking good point on Twitter yesterday, and it's a thought. So I want to hear your thoughts. Should Alpine be concerned that 2 high-profile drivers now, who both performed well with the team, Ricciardo in 2020 and Alonso in 2022, seemingly haven't had enough confidence in their long-term ambitions to stay put, gambling with McLaren and Aston Martin? Do you think that maybe in-house at Alpine there isn't enough ambition?
But I don't think that. I don't know. Was McLaren that much of a gamble at the time for
They
Ricardo?
were poor, man.
But
They
he
were
was
in
obviously
the-
promised
because obviously Ricardo had a good season at Renault.
money talks as well.
He had a good season at Renault, and he left, and they were like, "Whoa, okay, he's got McLaren, who were
I
obviously in
think
rebuild."
the Alonso one. If Alonso was 5 years younger, he could be more worried about it. I think he genuinely just wants to stay racing as long as he can, and that suits him. But I mean, he probably doesn't think he can take the Alpine car any further.
He's done a lot with it, and they're obviously the best of the rest this season.
But Ricardo
so-
probably thought the same as well.
Yeah. It's just it's a bit of thought, as I say, a food for thought sort of moment. But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. And there's your tweet about
Liz Barsby there.
Liz Barsby, brought up in another podcast. I think that's everything really in the F1 world that we kind of had to talk about, unless you have anything.
Did you watch Ted's Notebook at the weekend, Callum?
I've not watched it yet, no.
You watched it. I thought the cameraman ruined it. It wasn't the usual cameraman, and he was all over the shop. Poor Ted was cutting about it.
It's like Alpha Tauri's up that way.
And he was pointing at fucking Aston Martin, and you're like, what's going on here? But then also, like, the chemistry was off. It upsets me that because Ted, he's just the most lovable man in the world.
He is.
Also, he's not going to be at Spa.
I know it
Which
wasn't.
is devastating.
It wasn't at Baku.
Yeah, it was
and,
ruined.
it
The
was-
coverage was shit. Brundle wasn't there either.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me started on fucking Paul di Resta.
I love me some Paul di Resta.
Oh, I hate Paul di Resta. And do you know what? I watched this YouTuber called Rocket Powered Mohawk, and he's fucking hilarious, right? Suggestive.
Is that the guy that sits there in a wee car?
Yeah,
he's cool,
fucking hilarious, right? And he made his video reviewing the French Grand Prix, right? And I remember, so I used to watch F1 back in 2012, and I completely forgot about the last race of the fucking season. Do you remember what happened in the last race of the season in 2012?
Paul di Resta
Fucks it and ruins the most exciting end to a season that there's probably ever fucking been because he fucks it into a wall. Oh man, like Paul di Resta, just
great guy.
get him off the telly.
Let's get one here.
His jokes are so shit. Like so bad. Anyway, I think that's basically everything, isn't it?
I'm not getting Paul di Resta on anytime soon.
So that's in the space of one day. David Martindale and Paul di Resta away. Great. Right. Well, if you want a quiz to wrap us up,
Let's do it quickly, man. Let's do it.
So I'm going to do set A's. It's quite easy. I feel like everybody playing at home should be able to do it. We've had a good length of show as well because it's half an hour, which is decent. Right.
Are you going to be able to squeeze us in the space of 4 minutes?
Absolutely. Let's fucking get it done. Right. So Calum, I'm going to give you the option of set A or set B.
Set B.
Set B, right, okay. So, David Buick, to start off with question 1. Which driver holds the record for the most race entries before their first win?
Carlos Sainz.
You've made the same mistake as me. You're very close. The correct answer.
Is tell me.
Sergio Perez.
Yeah.
Sergio Perez. Which means, Calum, it's been set up for you nicely because the second question is the person who's second on that list is also a current driver. Who is it?
Perez.
Fuck this!
I rushed it there. Mate, I'm in too much of a rush for this.
We're in.
I rushed it.
God bless Carlos.
There's a TikTok clip.
There's a
TikTok clip right there.
I've got a TikTok TSF1.
Calum, that and you, Jeremy, for like horn on the rest of Calum. It was
I
set
rushed
up.
myself too quick.
It was set up with a plate. Right, question 2 for you. What brand are the current F1 tyres?
Pirelli.
Pirelli is the correct answer. Well done. Calum, who won the 2019 Monaco Grand Prix?
Ooh.
I can't answer. Hamilton?
Correct. It was Lewis Hamilton, so 1 apiece. Right, David, which team did Sergio Perez make his race debut for?
Force India.
No, it was Sauber. It was Sauber. Right, okay. True or false, Calum? Ferrari once ran a blue and white livery.
After a curveball, is it true?
It was true. Correct. So Calum is up 2-1.
True or false questions? That's not fair.
This is your
That's the
fourth.
ones I hate.
Is this your fourth question, David?
So,
yes.
yes.
So the question is a follow-up. What year did they run that livery?
That's bollocks.
Mate, I was 2 years off it with a guess.
1989.
No, 1964 was the. I said 62, and I was actually.
How is that fair?
Well, it just happens to
You
be the.
screwed me with both questions. He actually got the first one wrong when I was screwed.
Calum, if you get this right, Calum, you have won the first ever TSF1 quiz because this is your question 4 and you could go up 3-1. So, what car number is Mick Schumacher?
Oh, why is my head drawing a blank now?
I don't know what Scooby-Doo.
I can't think for life, me.
Take a random guess if you can't. I forgot as well when I done it.
52.
22.
You were close. It's 47.
47.
Right, so David, you need to get this right to keep yourself alive. I don't even have a tiebreaker. I'll have to make one up on the spot. Right, what month will be this season's Brazilian Grand Prix? What month does it take place?
October. November.
Bastard. November. So you made the same mistake as me because I thought it was a 2-week gap between that and Abu Dhabi. So
it's a back-to-back.
I think it is back-to-back.
Wow.
Yeah. So Calum, you have one already, but you do have one more question.
Fastest finger first.
David's going to be raging at this question.
But I'm answering it
My head's
before.
going to go a blank.
What colour is the checkered flag?
Black and white.
I'm fucking wearing a checkered flag.
So well done, Calum. You chose the good set.
Oh,
you
Jesus.
chose set B. Well done. You look raging, David.
That was literally all that quiz was. Choose the right set, pretty much. I was like fucking choosing between fucking hard tyres and medium tyres. And I've gone full fucking Ferrari, haven't I?
You went in immediate. Right, okay, that'll do us for today. Thank you, lads, for listening to TSF1 episode number 2. We'll
subscribe.
I don't know when we'll be back because the next race is in 3 weeks, but I might try and put some content up the channel for us or something, so we'll see what happens if any news and such comes out. But hey, we need to go, so thank you for listening. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you all next time.